Welcome to InsideAMind. I'm Tom,
And I'm Joe.
and this is the InsideAMind chat show. A quick disclaimer. Joe and I are not professionals in the areas we discuss. We talk from a subjective point of view from our beliefs and our experiences that we've gone through in life. Secondly, we absolutely love doing these videos. So whether it's the podcast or this chat show, please like, subscribe, or even share it with your nan. It helps us massively. And now sit back, relax, and we'll get our 10-minute timer going for episode 1 of the InsideAMind chat show.
Let's go.
We're ticking. 10 minutes on the clock.
Allow
Episode
me.
1.
I'll kick things off, shall I? So let's start with how you got yourself to this position, mate. Let's tell us all about the inception of the InsideAMind pod and now chat show.
Mate, it's a good one, I think, because I never thought I'd get into the podcast space. I never thought I'd do a chat show or whatnot. As you know, I'm quite a private guy. But yeah, it comes from quite a sort of not a sad story. We'll keep this fun. We'll keep this going. But I went through a lot through growing up. Whether I went from 15, mainly from 15 onwards, I was really struggling with depression. I've got anxiety. And I've also got ADHD, which I think the majority of things have stemmed from. So when I moved away from school, when I moved away to school, went to a boarding school for sixth form, which was all right, but I really struggled with my mental health, sort of moving away from home. And this podcast has sort of come from that. I didn't have anyone to sort of look up to in who was giving advice, someone I related to, and that's kind of why the podcast started. And yeah, that it was a bad experience, but it sort of stemmed something great now, and I'm very grateful, that we're in this position where we can give people advice and also just absolutely waffle on about life like we do.
Very similar to me, to be honest with you, mate. And obviously, I was your guest number 1 on the pod.
You were
Full circle. So I was here with you, episode 1 of your sort of journey on this podcast. And now here with you as a co-host, mate. So absolute
It's
pleasure.
been great. How was our episode when you sort of look back at it and you critique it from how we're doing now?
It's weird. I genuinely loved it. Like, it was like being back in therapy. Not to sound depressing, but it was so nice to come away from it thinking that I've just offloaded a lot of stuff, because I haven't seen anyone in that sort of scope for such a long time. It was so nice to basically offload everything that I hadn't done for a very long time. So that was really, really cool. Like, I think from a personal point of view, like, I think you've come a long way. Not to sound like condescending, but I think you've done fucking awesome since episode 1 all the way up to what we're on now, like 7, 8. Yeah, mate, it's unreal. Like, it's quite surreal to look back at it, and I do every now and again sort of look back at the clips from what happened, and I don't really remember it, to be honest with you. Like, the whole hour seemed to sort of fly by, and I get the same thing now when we have guests on, when we're sort of co-hosting together. Is like the whole hour can fly by and feel like 5 minutes. It goes by so quick, and it's kind of gone full circle, being a guest and now being a co-host, mate. It's
our story is quite random of how we sort of came to this point as well, because obviously I didn't even really know you. We played rugby together, just in like some friendly touch type games down at Reed's Weybridge, but that's kind of how I knew of you, and we didn't even speak that much when we were there. But then I remember just going on your Instagram and knowing you were like sort of really big into your mental health and helping people, and that's kind of where episode 1 sprouted from. So I find it funny that we kind of made a friendship out of this as well, and it's come full circle, and here we are co-hosting.
Yeah, like, spot on. I think also, like, I'm sure it's the same thing with you. I never envisaged my journey going down this route, and I'm so glad it did. And I've learned a lot, like you, having gone through those experiences I had when I was growing up, is that I'm so glad it's gone full circle now, and I'm able to sort of give something back and help people that are going through the same journey as me. And obviously, I'm a little bit older than you are, and I'm pleased that you've managed to find that in me, and sort of we can sort of bounce off each other in that sense. And I'm a little bit further along that journey than you are, which again is just awesome. And people that are older and younger than me that have come to me since then and said just how grateful they are.
Yeah, for sure. Can you tell everyone a bit about what we're going to do on this chat show, and how that kind of is differing to what we're doing on the podcast side of things?
Yeah, great question. So for those that aren't familiar, the podcast itself is bringing guests on from all fields. Obviously, Tom and I have had some really, really cool people on from all walks of life, and it's delving into more, without using the word serious conversations, topics around the mental health space that either people have sort of loved and lost, and grief and suicide and all the things that people sort of experience day to day. we delve into those really tough conversations, and we get to know their experiences through that and compare them to our own, and we sort of, without interviewing them, just get to know them as people and find more information about them. And it's really, really cool experience. And those episodes can last up to an hour, and we sort of clip those and share them into sort of smaller clips as well. In comparison to the talk show, it's more lighthearted. We have conversations about day to day. It doesn't necessarily have to be about mental health space. It could be about anything from sport, current affairs, all the way down to weather, mate. It's we're here to talk about anything and everything, which is why
know us a bit more.
Yeah, well, it is, and they get to know us, because obviously when we're on the show, when we're talking on the pod, we are sort of in character a little bit, and we have to sort of dumb things down slightly. Whereas this, we can be as stupid, and the outtakes of this are going to be pretty nuts as well. So it's good fun, and they get to know us better as people, and the community that we're creating, they can then input what they want into it as well. So like, I know that you and I put us on their Instagram story today on our social media and asked what the viewers want to see and listen to, and that's certainly what we're going to be listening to. And as episodes go on, we're going to delve into all things life, right? And it could be anything from family and relationships all the way down to what car you're driving, anything.
Yeah, I think that was another big thing as well, is when we put our sort of questions out, not question, what's it called? Like advice? No, we put the question out, what do people want on the podcast, on the chat show, use the same podcast. Mate, the response was nuts, as you just said. And that sort of got our thoughts going, and we were like, this could be like our sort of 10-minute, not specialization on certain areas, but having the opportunity for people to get to know us. Because as you said, when we're on the podcast, it's all about the guest, and the reason we brought them on is to help people. But then you watch some of them back, and I'd love for people to get to know us a bit better, get to know us, what we're like off camera. So I think it's going to be wicked doing this chat show. Obviously, we're going to try get as many out as possible in the time that we can, and we'll probably go for, hopefully, a good amount of chat show to podcast proportion.
Well, that's the beauty of it, mate, is that when we are doing it in the podcast, obviously a lot of prep goes into it, which people again won't see, the behind the scenes stuff, which we do sort of put out every and again to sort of give people a taste of what goes on, and people are generally interested in it. And I was blown away with the feedback that we got, and people that want to talk about, and the varying topics of conversations that you and I have been given, and obviously we can touch on them as the episodes go on. I'm really excited to see what can come of it, mate, and it's quite refreshing. And again, the community that we built in a very short window, from when you first started it, and since obviously you've invited me on to co-host with you, which I'm very grateful for, is that in that short window it's grown exponentially, and the amount of people that have given feedback and asked to talk about certain things, and it's what we're here for. That's what the whole thing's about, isn't it? It's being able to help and create a community and a safe space, people to sort of like share their thoughts, and like liking, commenting, and sharing what their thoughts are about the videos, and even if they didn't like, we're all for it. We're very new to this, and we're sort of learning on the job. So yeah,
it's wicked. We've got 2 minutes to go, so I want to ask you, what's been your favourite highlights of the podcast so far? I think we filmed 8 episodes now. Is this episode 8 coming out? What's been your best highlights so far?
I mean, definitely coming on with you as a guest, for sure. That's been my highlight, because of how much I got from it personally. I think learning about the guests when they've come on, that's a really good question. Learning about the PCOS one was really interesting to me, because I knew so little about it when Georgie came on. And that was with you. That's when you were just sort of doing it on your own. And the Christian and Alex Bowen one, how down to earth those two were.
Yeah, Alex Bowen's wicked. That's coming out soon as well. Especially a Christian one talking about professional football and the downsides of it. You just don't really hear stuff like that, do you? You hear all the glory, all the money. You don't hear what actually happens when you give up your whole life to something and it just completely crumbles away. So that was wicked. That was a very vulnerable episode for him as well, which was sick too. And another one I want to touch on just quickly is this Alex Bowen episode coming out, and what we talked about there, and some of the sick events he's got coming up, the work he's doing for Birmingham Mind. The coolest thing for me was the ridiculous sort of feats of endurance that he's doing. He's doing, for those who don't know, he's doing 5 kilometers every hour for 24 hours, and he's trying to do the 5K in under 30 minutes. That is nuts.
to it as well.
Sorry.
He's trying to get us involved with it as well.
Yeah, I was like, mate, if he did get us involved, I'd actually feel bad because I feel like he'd beat me if he was running his 20th hour of a 5K and I'd just run my first. I reckon he'd still beat me, and that would
Say
be
what,
so embarrassing.
we can drag some of the viewers along as well. See if who wants to come join us on a 5K. We can do it on his behalf, somewhere closer to home.
Yeah,
Maybe we can
that would
drag out
be,
into it.
mate, I literally can't run, so that would be the worst thing for me. But any advice or any promotion, if he doesn't even need it from us, does he? He's an absolute monster of a celebrity in his space. But any advice from us or whatever, maybe not the 5K. We'll do it. We'll do it in spirit. We'll be there.
Yeah, we've been thinking of him.
And mate, yeah, time is out. That's episode 1 of the
Beautiful.
InsideAMind chat show. This is getting a bit to know about us, a bit about what we've got coming up, and a tiny bit on the podcast as well. We can't wait to get into these next few episodes. Joe on his story alone had about 40 people message him saying, this is what we want to talk about. So there's going to be a load of content coming your way from us. We hope you enjoyed. And that's it from me.
So from me, take it easy.
And this is the InsideAMind chat show. Woo!
Ladies.